Good morning, televiewers of my media Prime Television. Here on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. That's, of course, the last edition for the week, and we are here as usual with the major headlines and, of course, our resource persons with whom we shall be digging several layers as usual, talking about those major headlines. And these breaking news coming in. We are told that former Japanese Prime Minister has finally died in hospital after he was shot at a rally in Western Japan. He has been confirmed dead by local media sources in Japan. We shall talk a bit about him, his legacy, what he did for the Japanese people, as our resource person is already on standby on the line to UK. Maitre Ndive, we shall be analyzing with him, and equally the resignation of British Premier Boris Johnson, who finally stepped down yesterday as leader of his political party, and he will stay on until a new prime minister or leader is elected before he will step down. And equally, the military engineering corps has taken over the construction of the Ikondo Titi Kumba route in the southwest region of the country after insecurity on that stretch of route that was under construction by a local company. And finally, due to the insecurity, the government has decided to hand over the project to the military engineering corps. We shall equally talk about the press briefing of Dr. Manauda Malashi, Public Health Minister of the country, yesterday in Yaoundé, where he gave figures of the amount collected so far. We are talking about 500 million francs CFA collected from COVID-19 tests within 1 month. And equally, he gave a balance sheet of the 6 epidemics that the country is fighting, talking about the epidemics, COVID-19, yellow fever, and amongst many others. We shall tell you more in this edition of the program. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's find out what she gathered for us in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous téléspectateurs et merci de nous retrouver pour cette dernière édition de la semaine de débrief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse. Alors ce matin nous allons débuter avec le journal Le Jour. Le journal Le Jour qui nous parle lui en grand titre de l'Assemblée nationale. En effet, de 2023 à 2025, le programme économique qui divise. Le bilan de cette session de juin, c'est dans cette édition du journal Le Jour à sa page 2 et 3. Lions indomptables, Gabriel Zogo mis de côté. Les détails sont donc en page 9 de cette édition du journal Le Jour ce matin. Le journal nous parle aussi à sa page 5 de la fête de la Tabaski, mais nous précise aussi que le coût du mouton est très élevé. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec le journal Le Messager. Le journal Le Messager qui nous parle, lui, de la route de Yoko, des ténèbres à la ville lumière, des projets de lutte contre les changements climatiques au plan d'aménagement de la forêt communale et aux autres gros chantiers. Cette localité du Mbam-Enkim s'engage donc sur l'autoroute du développement. Les détails sont en pages 5, 6 et 7 de cette édition du Messager ce matin. À sa page 9, le journal nous parle de litige foncier, la collectivité Longbongo en colère. À sa page 3, le journal nous parle d'affaires Vietel, Gidlat Télécom, les 4 milliards de francs CFA de la discorde. Nous restons toujours dans le même journal, Le Messager, à sa page 11. Le journal nous parle du décès de Marc-Vivien Fouet, l'accusation qui tue. Selon le professeur Aimé Boni, le contentieux familial éloigne l'opinion sur la cause réelle de la mort de ce footballeur Marc-Vivien Fouet. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec Mutation Quotidien. Mutation Quotidien qui nous parle, lui, en grand titre de la maladie d'insuffisance rénale au Cameroun, le calvaire que gagne donc le Grand Nord. En effet, cela fait 2 mois déjà que les patients sont donc obligés de se rendre à Marois pour les séances de dialyse à cause des machines en panne à Garoua. Les détails sont donc en page 7 de Mutation Quotidien ce matin. À sa page 5, le journal nous révèle qu'un jeune élève s'est suicidé après après son échec, après avoir été recalé au BEPC. En page 11, nous parlons du Parlement, une session très ordinaire. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec l'œil du Sahel qui nous parle, lui, de l'extrême nord, Marois qui marche donc contre la faim. Les détails sont en page 9 de l'œil du Sahel ce matin. À sa page 9, le journal nous parle de Bogo, la population donc orpheline de leur lamido-mère. Nous restons toujours dans le même journal, l'œil du Sahel, à sa page 7, qui nous parle donc de la fête de la Tabaski. La Damawa organise donc des ventes promotionnelles. En page 7 toujours, l'œil du Sahel nous parle de Bondéry, Boko Haram qui fait donc 3 morts à Kinguira. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Émergence. Le journal Émergence qui nous parle, lui, en grand titre, de la chute de l'euro, le franc CFA qui est donc en danger. Les détails sont en page 3 d'Émergence quotidien ce matin. À sa page 7, le journal Émergence nous parle de dédouanement des voitures. Des usagers dribblent donc le système de contrôle CAM6. À sa page 9, le journal nous parle du dossier Glencore, la CONAC qui se saisit donc finalement de cette affaire. Nous poursuivons, mesdames, messieurs, avec l'info à chaud. Le journal Info à chaud qui nous parle, lui, de la victoire des Lions indomptables samedi. Le DTN, donc, qui vient en renfort pour cette équipe nationale. Les détails sont en page 3 de l'info à chaud ce matin. À sa page 8, le journal nous parle de la démission de Boris Johnson en Angleterre. Nous clôturons, mesdames, messieurs, ce matin avec le journal Le Soir qui nous parle de la visite pastorale de Monseigneur Jean Barga à l'aumônerie militaire de Yaoundé. Les détails sont donc en page 1 et 2 de ce journal Le Soir ce matin. À sa page 9, le journal nous parle du Forum mondial urbain en Pologne. Le bilan dressé donc par Célestine Ketcha-Cortès. Paul Biya, sacré champion du développement urbain par l'ONU. C'est ici, mesdames, messieurs, que nous nous arrêtons pour vos titres en langue française. Place à la découverte des titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys. Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart with Cameroon Insider newspaper this morning. Cameroon Insider newspaper is focusing on the Ikondo Titi Kumba Road project that is to resume very soon. The paper tells us further that Public Works Minister or Ministry has now turned to the Military Engineering Corps as the Tunisian company that was charged with the execution of the project was incapacitated by insecurity in the area, and the Military Engineering Corps resumes work on that stretch of road very soon, as the paper tells us. And let's talk sports. This time around, the Lionesses of Cameroon still can't get a win, writes the Cameroon Insider newspaper. Another disappointing draw against Togo, 1-1. That was last night, or not last night, 2 days ago. So the paper tells us leaves them with no option but to win their final group match against Tunisia on Saturday. That's on Saturday, this coming Saturday. You can read more on page 13 of this edition of Cameroon Insider. Lawmakers, according to the paper, wrap up parliament business in Yaoundé after 30 days of activity in Yaoundé. Members of the National Assembly and Senate have gone on a recess at the end of the session of Parliament, which saw the adoption of 7 bills. More details on pages 3 and 4 of this edition of Cameroon Insider newspaper. And Cameroon Insider newspaper is also taking us to Kribi to talk about mysterious whale that washed up on Kribi beach, and some 300 locusts last July 4 butchered and consumed the massive creature of some 25 meter length and over 20 tons, despite it being classified vulnerable to extinction by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. You can read more in this edition of Cameroon Insider newspaper. And 335 billion francs CFA Douala Bus project to start soon. The World Bank is providing some CFA 260 billion before the project to start anytime soon. This represents 77% of the funding, while Cameroon will provide the rest of the funding for the bus project in Douala. On to the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post newspaper is telling us that over 360 shops have been demolished in Douala. Over 360 shops belonging to traders of the Gar, the New Bear Market in the Douala 2 subdivision have been demolished by bulldozers from the Douala 2 Council. The demolition exercise took place in the early hours of Thursday, July 7, 2022. More details on page 10 of this edition of the set newspaper. Let's talk about drama at Amba checkpoint in Kumba, Meme division of the Southwest region. Daredevil soldier killed in attempt to capture Amba fighters with bare hands. We are told by the paper that a soldier attached to the 21st Support Battalion in Kumba, Meme division of the restive Southwest region has been shot dead by separatist fighters. And Adamu, who's the name of the soldier, Adamu Ali, is reported to have been gunned down July 6, 2022 at an Amba checkpoint at Kaketu in Kumba 1 subdivision. And still talking about the armed conflict, Amnesty International pressures government of President Paul Biya to halt threats against rights defenders in the country. And let's take you to Yaoundé, to the state broadcaster CRTV. CRTV board rejects CRTV GM's proposed appointments, cites non-respect of regional balance, tribalism, favoritism, anxiety as Charles Ndongo yet to implement directives 1 week after storming board meeting which took place in the presence of the board chair, who happens to be the Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi. You can read more in this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. On to the national bilingual daily Cameroon Tribune. Cameroon Tribune is focusing on the press briefing yesterday in Yaoundé by Public Health Minister Dr. Manauda Malashi. Test COVID-19, payment of COVID-19 tests in the country. 500 million francs CFA have been collected within 1 month. The exercise, which went operational since June 15, 2022, was made known yesterday in Yaoundé by Public Health Minister Dr. Manauda Malachi, saying that 500 million francs CFA have been collected from COVID-19 test in the country. He equally gave a balance sheet of the 6 epidemics that the country is fighting at the moment. Talking about the 6 epidemics: COVID-19, cholera, yellow fever, polio, amongst others. And we stay with the National Bilingual Daily Cameroon Tribune to talk about agriculture production in the country, balancing the fertilizer equation against a backdrop of persistent COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. Farmers have been paying a heavy price in the hike in fertilizer rates that have affected or doubled, as the paper tells us. There is therefore a need to look for alternatives, one of which is exploring possibilities of stepping up local production of the farm inputs in the country. You can read the focus of Cameroon Tribune on pages 9 through 11 of this edition of the set newspaper. As UNDP pursues a recovery in the Northwest region, Municipal Updates newspaper tells us that Ukraine engages reconstruction plan, and a move which has been described by the West borrowing, or described as the West borrowing from the Cameroonian model, is a move that will be seen today in Yaoundé as a member of the steering committee of the reconstruction, or the presidential reconstruction plan for the Northwest and the Southwest regions of the country, will be meeting today in Yaoundé to evaluate how far they have gone with the project or the reconstruction of the Northwest and the Southwest regions of the country. Thank you, televiewers of My Media Prime Television, for watching. Like I earlier mentioned, we are joined by Maitre Alex Ndive. As usual, he is on the line to London. Maitre Alex, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys, and good morning to your entire team. Good morning to the beautiful people of the Cameroons. Mr. Lasha, I must start by telling you Ukraine is not borrowing anything from Cameroon. Cameroon have nothing to show to the world because Ukraine is not in the West, it's in the East. It used to be part of Soviet Union. So newspapers should stop lying and giving headlines that are not true.
Okay, Maitre.
Once more.
Yes, Maitre.
Yeah.
Alex, finally, like you said yesterday, a UK premier has stepped down.
Yeah, it was a much anticipated resignation, and Mr. Boris Johnson has resigned as leader of his party, and what will happen is that he's still the prime minister until they elect a new leader. Then that's when he will step down as prime minister of the country. We should make it clear when I come to your program and I talk. Mr. Boris Johnson has been called a liar and he's a liar. So we should not be scared when people who are in office, they lie. He lacked integrity, lacked probity. This is someone who was informed about somebody who is a sexual predator. Boris Johnson tried to cover it and he was caught finally about this. This is somebody who promote cronyism, nepotism, promote his friends, and he thinks he can get away with anything. Democracy is about scrutinizing people. It's about checks and balances. We should not think that because somebody is in a public office, we should be scared of the person. When we speak, we come on your program, we call somebody. Sometimes when I say somebody is a liar, people are surprised. We speak English, and English is English. Mr. Boris Johnson was a liar, full with sleaze, and that is why he has resigned.
What is the future? What is the future of UK now? We know what has been happening, especially with Brexit and negotiating some terms with the European Union. What is the future of the UK?
I thought his former chief negotiator, Mr. Barnier, he was happy and saying all not because they don't like Boris Johnson when it comes to Brexit. However, personally, I wanted the UK to come out from the European Union because personally, I look at it like a racist club it was full with 28 Caucasian countries.
And friends in politics.
So I'm happy when it comes to Brexit, I'm happy with Boris Johnson. But with other stuff, Boris Johnson is a joker. He gets away with a lot of things. He called black people picanini. He called Asian people who put on the veil that their face are like letter box. The wife was sick, having cancer. He was there with the girlfriend. So he's a prime minister full of sleaze, and he was getting away with it. I don't know if he was getting away because Mr. Johnson is a journalist. Maybe that's why he was getting away with all those things because his friends are all journalists. So it's a good thing that he has stepped down because we have lost morality compass. When you're in public office, you have to have morality. You have to respect people. And it's important. And however, Mr. Johnson did a lot of other good things, but in the UK, it doesn't matter. When you're a prime minister, you're just first among equals. All the members of parliament are equal. He's just the first minister. So things will go as usual because in the parliamentary system, the prime minister, you cannot dictate on everything. You always have a cabinet. And what happened is collective decision. Even if you're a prime minister, you don't make decision on your own. And once as your cabinet, they lost confidence in you, you have to go because you have to have a working majority to work with them. And Mr. Johnson today is no longer the leader of his party because his parliamentarians, some of them his close friends, they told him, you have to go. That's how democracy should work. We should stop politics of personality court like in Cameroon. We need people who are competent, they sit together, they put their heads together, then they come to a decision. That's what is important.
Yeah, Maitre, let's talk briefly on this sad news. It was just confirmed a few minutes ago that Japan's ex-leader dies after being shot at a rally, and Shinzo Abe, 67, has died in hospital after he was shot while giving a speech at an event in Western Japan. What a sad day for the Japanese people.
First of all, I would like to send my condolences to the people of Japan. Mr. Abe Chinozo, I don't know him that much, but usually, like somebody who always follow the news, he was somebody who tried to revitalize the stagnant economy of the Japanese people. He was the modern day longest serving prime minister. He tried to convince the bank to increase government spending in his country. And his father was also something like a prime minister before. So all I can say, it's a sad day. I'm somebody who value human life a lot. When certain things like this happen, it's very saddening to people who value the right of life. And when I heard the news, I was following it. I was just hoping that he should survive. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Oui, that's quite sad. Gwladys.
Maître, est-ce qu'on peut parler d'un règlement de compte? Pourquoi attendre qu'il soit devant le pupitre pour tirer sur lui?
The problem is, normally somebody 40 years old have been arrested, and these things are not strange. It happened with the Pope, it happened with Ronald Reagan, it happened with different people. Unfortunately, I don't know what was happening. I don't know how his security was. It is too early.
Because he was seen being lifted up by medics up in the middle of the road where he was shot, and apparently there was not enough security.
We cannot say so. Sometimes security doesn't mean people are not around. There are always people who are undercover officer. And take note, he's an ex-leader. He's no longer the Prime Minister of Japan. So the security will not be equivalent to he was the Prime Minister of Japan. He was an ex. They can get some undercover officer, but unfortunately, these things happen.
Ok, Maître.
Ok, Maître. Parlons donc à présent du Forum mondial urbain qui a eu lieu en Pologne, en fait. Le journal Le Soir en parle aujourd'hui. Le président Paul Biya a été sacré champion du développement urbain par l'ONU.
Are you saying who is saying that Paul Biya is the champion of development?
L'ONU.
UN, Maître, UN.
When I want to see things as a lawyer, I like to talk based on evidence. I don't like people who just come and do window dressing exercise or playing to the gallery. If I want to see if Mr. Biya is champion of development, I've just looked at a paper mentioned about the deep sea port in Douala. Every time I hear deep sea port in Douala or in Kribi, I'm not happy because Mr. Biya promised us as a champion of development. Mr. Biya promised us a deep sea port in Victoria. We are still waiting after 30 years. Mr. Biya started in 1982 with Agro-Pastoral Show in Cameroon. I attended the one in Bamenda. It was wonderful. Mr. Biya stopped it. So Tuka stopped in Cameroon. That's economic. Cameroon Bank have gone under Mr. Biya. I don't know if marketing board is still there. So sometimes these IMF, they are foreigners. They are not in the ground. So sometimes it depends on what they are saying. Mr. Biya is champion of development. Without taking, it's not about personality here. To me, Mr. Biya is champion of destruction. Wadawum, Cameroon Bank. If you see everything that was in Cameroon, Mr. Biya came to power, they have destroyed it. And Mr. Biya was part of the Aijo regime when they destroyed Tico International Airport, Tico WAF, and other things. So Mr. Biya is champion of destruction, to my opinion, based on the evidence that I'm giving you on your program.
Okay, Maitre, let's talk about COVID-19 tests. And the Minister of Public Health of this country yesterday during press briefing in Yaoundé said 500 million francs CFA have been collected so far from tests, COVID-19 tests, and he equally gave a balance sheet of how his ministerial department has been fighting, you know, 6 epidemics rather in the country. COVID-19, he talked about yellow fever and many other epidemics.
Mr. Lasha, the way to fight epidemic in a country is when you start producing your own medication. When France is still producing our malaria medicine, foreign countries are still producing the vaccine, you're not fighting anything. All we know in Cameroon is when people say they have collected money. When I see people talking about collecting money, budget, I'm worried. Do you know why? Because the hands are there already to embezzle it, and they are ready to go to Kondenge because they know if they embezzle it, they will just put them to Kondenge. After some time, they will come out, they will not get the money. So to me, if Mr. Malachi wants to fight diseases in Cameroon, we want to start seeing Cameroon scientists who are producing our own drugs. We want to see we should not be relying on foreign country. Somebody cannot, a country like France, don't have malaria, but they are producing your own malaria drug. Is that not a disgrace? I don't understand these people in power. They are not ambitious. They don't understand that when you go to power is to invent things. I saw some people, they were given a boat, speedboat. Is it Kribi? They were happy. That's the second one they are giving them as 8. Why can't you produce your own speedboat? Why can't you have engineers? More 160 years we have been sending Cameroonians for scholarship. Why can they not come and copy and develop our country? To me, what Mr. Malaki says is just red herring. I don't believe them one bit. Sometimes they have served their time, and sometimes it's to give other people the chance to see how we can move the country forward.
Mais maître, on a vu des médecins à qui on a donné l'opportunité au Cameroun de produire de la quinine made in Cameroun, mais à la fin, on s'est rendu compte que ça a été importé. Donc, quand vous parlez de demander aux Camerounais de produire eux-mêmes les médicaments du palu, qu'est-ce qui prouve que ces Camerounais-là ne vont pas toujours aller par derrière importer?
When you say they have given Cameroonians, I don't know, we have about averagely 27 million Cameroonians. When you go and give contracts to your friends and families, you don't expect anything to happen. What we can do, this Western world, they have experts who manufacture medication. Send people to go and learn experts. Send them abroad to learn. If I sit on your program, if I tell you that I can name one Cameroon scientist that I know, I don't know. And one single, when I mean scientist, that I know the name, maybe they are. If you're a scientist, you're popular, you discover something, you will be known. So when you say they gave somebody to do quinine or whatsoever, I don't believe it for 1 second. And the point is, like other contracts in Cameroon, roads and what, they give it to their friends who are incompetent, they cannot do it. They are people. You can take Western scientists, bring them back to Cameroon and let them teach you how to do it inside your country. Since in Cameroon, we still have Institut Pasteur that was founded in France, is it 1888. We still have Institut Pasteur there. What is it doing that we don't have our own international and local laboratory in Cameroon? We are still relying on colonial structures.
Maitre Alex, and let's talk about this other issue. Yesterday we talked about Cameroon Tribune that was not projecting the image of the Prime Minister. Today, the same Guardian Post is taking us to Mbala too to talk about CRTV. Board rejects the GM's proposed appointments, the appointments that were supposed to be done, and the board has rejected what came from the general manager Charles Ndongo, and cites non-respect of regional balance, tribalism, and favoritism.
I should start. If I don't know, I'm not falling in love with the Guardian Post. Sometimes they write certain things I don't know. And one, I would like to tell the editors of the Guardian Post, stop using that word tribalism. Tribalism means loyal. It's a positive thing. Use nepotism. You are a journalist, you're writing in a paper, you keep on using words, you have dictionary, you should check the meaning of tribalism. I don't know if Cameroon have got its own definition. However, the most important thing I want to say, what is regional balance? Regional balance is a uniform distribution pattern of a planned investment among different regions of Cameroon. I want to say something that nobody, no elected person, mayor, councillor, everybody have ever said in Cameroon. We are not regions. If you look, South region of Cameroon, what's the population? It's about 324,000. If you look Central region, it's about 4-point-something million. Northwest region, almost 2 million. Southwest region, over 1-point-something million. Then you go again, is it Eastern region, 800 and something thousand people. So how can you say regional balance? When Mr. Biya came to power, created 3 more regions, he gave his own area where it comes from, region, so that they should have more money, separated sanctuary suit. Central South, they have similar culture. We from Southwest and Northwest, we are not homogeneous, we have different culture. So the regional balance, who define those regions? We are not region. We are people. I happen to be a Bakwema who find myself inside a country called Yodos, Cameroon. I'm not a region. So if you want balance, decentralization has to focus on all the tribes. You cannot go to Northwest. But Menda is only the major city because of these provinces and region system. When I come again back to the appointment by Mr. Charles Ndongo. Mr. Charles Ndongo is talking about, in quotes, tribalism. Let me use their own definition. When you see the person who was the first CRTV director, Eli Etoga, he comes from similar area with Mr. Charles Ndongo. He was a corrupt man, he stole money, Mr. Biya fired him. Mendoza, similar area, the same tribe. Mr. Biya fired him for corruption. We are waiting now for Charles Ndongo. We don't know if the same fate will befall him. My point I want to make, when they want to appoint people in Syria TV, you don't need to appoint only people there. It should be open to all the people of the Cameroons, including you, Mr. Lasha, including you, Gwladys. If there is a job there, they should put the job description, and all the people of Cameroon, they should be able to apply for that job. What we need in Cameroon, if we want to talk about the so-called regional balance, to me, we have two institutions in Cameroon, the French and the English institution. That's how that country was created. We have to respect that. Then decentralization has to go to all the tribes because it's our custom, it's our tradition. We cannot stop promoting our custom and tradition while we are promoting French and English. If you ask me about this regional balance, including decentralization, if you ask me in this country, in the UK, because UK have got decentralization, if you ask me what power have they devolved in the UK, in Scotland or Wales, I'll tell you, I can name it, the example. I will say education and training. I will say environment have been devolved. Healthcare and social service have been devolved. Housing and land use planning have been devolved. Law and order have been devolved. Local government have been devolved. Agriculture, fishery and forestry have been devolved. Sports and tourism have been devolved. Ask me what have been devolved in the Cameroons. I don't know. If you ask what powers, we keep on playing these window dressing exercises. We have decentralization. Britain is decentralized. And what you expect in a decentralized country, when you decentralize a country, the person who wins power, you go to power and you exercise those functions. But in Cameroon, you train civil servants in Enam, in Nasla, to do the job of a politician. So if we want regional balance, we need regional balance. I understand Mr. Charles Dongo is saying those people were competent. If they were competent, you should tell us how you appointed them, the job description.
So what is the base of Minister Rene Emmanuel Sadi for rejecting that? Don't you think he too wants to practice the same thing that Charles Ndongo is practicing?
Mr. Lasha, you are a journalist. I want to tell you, if you have time one day, go to the Prime Minister of Cameroon's office. See the people who are inside the Prime Minister's office. Most of them are from his village, from Kumba.
Do you have proofs? Do you have proofs?
National Assembly,
do you have proofs, Maitre Alex? Maitre Alex, do you have proofs?
Go to the president. Listen, I'm saying, let me lie.
Yes.
If you go to the president of National Assembly's office, it's made up of all these people from his village. Go to all those offices. It has been legalized. Let me use the Cameroon word of tribalism or nepotism. That's the real word. Every offices in Cameroon, you go and meet the boss there, they come from your village. And Anglophones are not exception. When Pamuna was there, it was about Ugari maths, Ugari physics, Ugari chemistry. They do the same thing. We need laws that we should stop this type of things. People put their people there, including Anglophones. We need checks and balances. We need to hold people into account and scrutinize them. It's not only Charles Dongo who is doing it. People do it everywhere in Cameroon, including the Anglophones.
Est-ce qu'on va dire là, Maître, que peut-être le ministre René Emmanuel Sadi a un problème particulier avec Charles Ndongo?
That would be conjecture. I don't want to speculate, but however...
No, he's the boss. He's the board chair. He's the board chair of CRTV, and he has to approve certain things.
The point is, if they were in a meeting, either, which I would say, maybe Mr. Charles Ndongo did not follow the procedure because there must be a procedure. But talking in a general terms, you know, in Cameroon, sometimes if it's a normal thing, people have their own names that they want to put in. If they don't see their own name there, they might object it. I'm talking in a general terms. And sometimes people pass certain exams.
So what is the use? What is the use of competitiveness when it comes to entrance examination or recruitment into institutions in the country? They should just take their people and put now. If you are saying that everything is through corruption.
Mr. Lasha, you know that you're a journalist. Even if you go and investigate, you find out that most of these concours, if you go and you realize that either Chiruma's son is there, Kabaye, Nyab, Jifenji, it is recycling. If you don't belong to that clique, if you're just an ordinary Cameroonian that you come from Kikakila, Juvett, or other parts there, if you don't know somebody, it doesn't work. We have created that country that is only an oligarchy and their children. They are the only people who can progress in that country. And we have to break that glass ceiling. People like myself, when I'm talking, we need fairness in the country, and that's why I'm calling that decentralization should go to the tribes. People should be able to practice their culture and tradition. What we need in Cameroon, we need this, what we call, we want to see more Bamenda. We want to see Banso should become like Bamenda, and Ndop should become like Bamenda. We cannot start for 60 years. We have been able to have only one major city in the Northwest region because we don't decentralize. We don't give powers to the local people to run their own things. Once as we start giving them power, we'll be able. There's nothing like balanced regionalism. In the UK, in America, in France, we have Northwest and Southwest, we have Center, we have East. You don't identify people by geographical location. In constitutional law, you identify people by their tribe because we all have custom and tradition. The Scottish man is different from English person. That's why they give them devolution. A person from Northern Ireland is different from English person. That's why they give them devolution. In Belgium, Flemish people are different from the French and English. That's why they give them devolution. In Canada, Quebec and other people in Canada, that's why they give them devolution. We should recognize the two institutions in Cameroon. The ENAM, École Normale Supérieure, gendarme, unelected governor should be in the French region. A jury system that we have 12 people charging people, police officers who don't have arms, and elected judges that are appointed because of experience, not by true ENAM, should be in the English side. It's a matter of choice. We came together as two countries. For the sake of this your program, I'll give you the definition of a country because so many people sometimes they don't know. A country is a political authority. A country is a population and a territory. So I learned that in constitutional law in Wakele, not even here, although I did constitutional area. A country does not need to be independent, just like England is not independent, Scotland is not independent. So the French part of Cameroon, which was a country, and the English part, they came together. Now we are not seeing the other part of the country. Where has it gone to? It is very important that Mr. Biya can sit in it today and solve these things. We don't even need to sit on a table. He knows what we need to do. La République have eclipsed Southern Cameroon. We need to sit and know that two countries came together. Yes, Southern Cameroon was not independent on its own. That's a fact. I agree on that. But it was a country. We had a political authority headed by Dr. Endeli.
So, are you saying that as a result of that negligence, that's what is making this or promoting this favoritism and the nepotism you are talking about?
If there is openness, you know how things are done. If there is transparency, you know how things are done. Mr. Lasha, you're a journalist. You, Gwladys, Emanuela, Money, all of you, you know each other. You know who is clever. You know if there's an concours, who goes there, who is going to pass. You know each other. You cannot see somebody who have never heard about this person. You see the person in the position. I've never heard of Ngongo in my life since I was born. I just saw somebody is the Secretary General of Cameroon. You have to prove yourself before you be in a certain position. I've never Motaze related to Pobia, Ngongo somehow connected to Pobia, Mendoza connected to Pobia. This former man to external relationship was Pobia's friend. If you look at Cameroon, I'm not saying if your friend is competent, you can put your friend somewhere. But Mr. Biya have been encouraging nepotism. When you look at all the people he has been appointing, there is people, there is friends. If they are competent, I'm okay.
Including your Anglophone brothers. Including your Anglophone brothers.
No, they are not. They need them. They need them. They need the Anglophone brothers in order to do what they are doing. And again, let me tell you something. This is very important. The Anglophone, let me call them in quote, civil servant politicians are the most incompetent people in the Cameroon.
No, you cannot say that, including your lecturer who is the prime minister.
Listen, Mr. Lasha, if you're a lecturer in university, they put you a prime minister. You have never done politics in your life. How do you run a ministry? So that's why they just put they put conseiller technique. They are the one making the decision. They just do it and they give you have to sign it. That's what is going on. Let me learn. I was going to make an important part. I know most Anglophones, they wouldn't like this. Francophones in Cameroon, they know politics. I'll tell you, Why they create political party like my lecturer come to after civil servant politician? He went and created a political party. He's fighting for his interest. Kabaye Jibri created a party. I mean, not Kabaye. Kabaye Libi rather created a political party. He's fighting for his interest. Chiruma fighting for interest. Bello Buba fighting for the interest. Name me one political party in the Northwest and Southwest leader Anglophone. Forget SDF, push them aside. I know what I'm saying. Name me one. If you see my lecturers who are Anglophones, like Dr. Muzu, Dr. Anyangwe, they go around preaching history. Instead of creating a political party to win seats so that you can go ahead with it, they keep on preaching. They don't know politics. You create a political party to fight for your interest. That's why I say Anglophones. The current Anglophones, they don't know politics. Pamuna, Pafoncha, they created political party, Mbile, Endeli, to change Cameroon to where we are.
But they were less educated at that time. Why?
No, it depends what you mean less educated. I can be less educated and surround myself with beautiful and intelligent people. It's about knowing politics. Because I'm an individual, I speak with people. So they were not less, they were smart enough, they knew what they were doing, they created a political party. Yes, maybe they wanted position, good for them. But they were smarter than this generation in that in order to change a country, you have to do the politics. You have to be the change that you want to see. You don't sit and criticize and ask a ruling CPDM party to implement your policy. Government in power don't implement the manifesto of opposition. You have to find yourself to enter politics or power to implement your manifesto. I want not a regional assembly, I want a parliament that we can discuss Anglophone problem in Northwest and Southwest. That's what I want, and that's why I'm doing politics. If we happen one day to have a lot of members of parliament, we'll be able to do what we want. But if we sit, we tell a ruling party that you should do what I want, they won't do it because they don't want to leave power. They have the guns, they have everything, so you can't tell them to leave. If Anglophones, they want to solve the problem, they should start doing politics. You should be the change that you want to be. And I'll tell them whether they like it or not. At the age of 33, the Prime Minister of East Cameroon, Mr. Aijo, he was fighting. He was elected to fight for the interest of the French part of Cameroon.
Okay, merci beaucoup.
They were there to fight for the interest of the English part of Cameroon. So if you fail, we should blame the Endeli and the Muna and what? I can't blame Aijo. He was elected to fight for the interest of French Cameroon. That's what Anglophone they should know. It was not there to fight for the interest of Anglophone. So we should know that and learn to take our responsibility and learn to know that we Anglophone, we are at fault, and learn to know that the people that we put them to represent them as Anglophone, I cannot compare a single Anglophone political leader with Kanto, Libby, this Chiruma, all the political leaders in the French part of Cameroon. Name me one Anglophone leader who can.
At least we have John Frundi. At least we have John Frundi.
Bring me John Frundi on your program to come and talk. He does monologue. Nick Frundi cannot argue. He cannot talk politics. He cannot talk GDP. Ask him. We should not. You guys, journalists, you're the ones supporting failure, mediocrity in the Anglophone area. You guys are the one responsible because we are talking politics. Frundi ever debate with somebody. He comes and sit and make a monologue and goes away. Then they say, has Frundi ever won an election in Cameroon?
Ok, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, Maître. Merci beaucoup, Maître. Maître Alex. Maître Alex, on va aller dans le journal Émergence ce matin. Il nous parle de la chute de l'euro. L'euro a chuté. Un problème pour le franc CFA.
How can it be a problem? You know, the franc CFA was being backed by the French franc and is no longer existing anymore. So at the end of the day, you know my position when it comes to France CFA. We should not have France CFA. We should not have money that's being controlled by foreign power. They set our interest rate, monetary policy. If France keep on profiting and benefiting behind us, why are we doing that? Control our own currency, we are finished. But however, I believe the time is coming when we are going to come out from the France CFA. It's a matter of time.
Create our own, like Alex. Create our own, like the Mbongo said.
Say it again, please.
create our own money like the your friend said last time, Alex Ngepi.
No, we should have been saying that we don't need to be under France. That France, it's not helping us.
But how do we do this? Because it's very difficult. It will be very difficult for us to do it immediately. How do we do this to have our own independent money?
Is it difficult for Nigeria to have naira? Is it difficult? Is it difficult for Chinese or India to have rupee? We were not the only continent that was, or country that was colonized. India was colonized, Japan, Pakistan, China was colonized. But look at them, they have their own money. You see, you have to dream and do something. You better do something and fail. You have to try to do something rather than not to do it at all. It is very important that we know that. Don't start because of fear. Don't stop to pursue your dream because of fear. To run a money or whatever is a very easy thing. We have got gold. Money is being backed by gold. Do Britain have gold? Or Switzerland or other country? They came to Africa, they stole our gold and their money is being backed by gold.
Pounds is very high. Has very high value.
They are the ones fixing these things. Do you know something? What is even money? Let me go locally. What we need is goods and services. Even if there is no money, I do trade by barter, I'll be happy. You know why Gaddafi was killed? It's one of the reasons, because he wanted our currency all to be backed over by gold. And these people, they don't have gold. What is money? I will use this word in quotes. Money is 419. Some people sit in a bank. They make something, you keep on exchanging. Now we have credit card, you can pay. You don't even see the money these days. So some people, they have organized a financial system. And now they are making us to believe in something that's not even existing. That's why they try to kick Russia out, and Russia have to make their own system or whatsoever. How come that we in Africa, we cannot do the same thing? Most countries that are developed, they copy from other countries. It's very important. If you want to develop, copy. There's nothing wrong to copy good things. But in Africa, we are so contented with where we are. We don't want to move on. We have malaria, people are making our medication. How can somebody who doesn't have malaria in his own country be doing your own thing? You that is wearing the shoes, you have to feel the pain. We don't feel that pain in Africa. We just want to work. We just want to have easy life. We don't want to work for what we get. We must start changing our mentality. And changing that mentality is to put people who are ambitious, people who are not feared to chase their dream. That is what we need to do in that country.
That's it, Maitre Alex. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying with us.
You're welcome and have a good weekend.
Good weekend to you too, and to our televiewers who are watching us at this time. We've come to the end of the program today, which was produced for us by Christain, Tebong. We were Gwladys, Bomotonguina, and myself, Lasha Kingsley. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.